Welcome back to Art Estate. Today's guest is Molly Matalon.
I think that is why I have continued to pursue this life. The sense of it being a puzzle, how to answer the assignment.
She's been commissioned by publications like the New York Times and Bloomberg, and has also photographed major celebrities like Lana Del Rey, Charlie Sheen, and Jane Fonda. In this conversation, we dive into Molly's approach to film, scanning, tools, and how process shapes voice. We talk about art school, moving between cities, navigating the celebrity portrait world, and why being an artist means constantly learning, adapting, and evolving. So if you're ready, let's jump right into my conversation with Molly Matalon.
It's kind of like dating profiles, it's like I could either be funny or I could be serious in how I answer this. And I don't know how I want to be,
Yeah. I find that these chats are, just super casual. Like I have gone into some of these interviews like really planned and have like specific questions, but then that doesn't always work because it depends, like it's a conversation and it's a flow and it doesn't always end up where you want it to go. And I actually like that better. And so I do have some questions or like ideas of topics that I want to chat with you about, but I'm also like, if we don't get there, that's fine. And if we do, that's awesome too. And like open to wherever this takes us. So I'm so excited to have you.
Same. I do prefer that. I actually do more of a like psychoanalysis style therapy, which is just a stream of conscious talking to someone's in the room and she kind of chimes in now and then. But I'm interested in like where my thought starts and where it ends after an hour. And so I'm kind of interested in not knowing exactly where I'm going to end up,
Wow. So in those sessions, do you just talk for a whole hour? Is like just you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I go 3 times a week.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's more better for me.
Yeah.
I find that it's shocking that people do therapy once a week, once you do it more than once a week.
How much is it for a session you're in LA, right?
I'm in LA, yeah. It's covered through my insurance partially, which I'm grateful for. So it's $60 a session.
Oh, that's really
with
affordable.
Insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's like maybe $120 without insurance.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it is just talking. The first few times I did it were difficult or an adjustment because you sit down and they don't say anything. And she's not super textbook or traditional, so she like chimes in and offers feedback, or if I have a question, she'll answer it. But it's very self-starter, and that's like difficult and scary in the beginning. And sometimes, I'm like over a year of it doing it, and still there'll be times where I'm a little tripped up, or like I'm nervous to what to start. What do I want to start with? And also thinking about things being predetermined. Like, okay, I'm on the drive to my therapy, and what do I want to talk about? Here's what I want to talk about. Okay, I'll start with that. And then usually that's not even what I end up talking about. But it's interesting to me to make a connection between what I wanted to and why is that what I wanted to talk about.
That's super interesting. And do you find that afterwards you feel like kind of like a weight has been lifted, or just like open, like, how it reminds me, what you're doing reminds me of just like journaling, like free flow and like stream of conscious writing. And so afterwards, once that's like kind of released and out of your head, you just feel like way more open, and like lighter in a way, or like open to receive new ideas and that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's usually that. Sometimes it's like embarrassment or something where I'm like, oh my gosh, the thing that I'm having an issue with is a thing I always have an issue with. And it's like sitting in a room with a mirror, essentially.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I've left feeling, man, I did that thing again that I thought that I stopped doing or that I felt wasn't an issue anymore. But it's funny that you say the journaling thing and that not to be like heady, but my answer to your question was also to say that I also sometimes feel embarrassed because I have tried to be someone who journals my entire life.
Yeah.
And every time I start, it's like that SpongeBob meme where he's trying to write a letter and it's like and the T is like very intricate. And I get in my own head looking at the page and it kind of has this sort of effect on me that is similar to, I guess feeling like, oh, I'm going to read this while I'm writing it. And oh, that's so like cringe, like Dear Diary.
Right.
Like there's something about it that it's not natural. It doesn't feel natural to me, but it's something I really desire to do. And I'm like, oh, I know there's something about it that will heal me or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just can't. And I'm like someone who goes to a stationery store and I'm like, I'm going to get this one. And the way that this one's laid out will solve my problems.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So I think it's just something about realizing that you exist or I realizing that I exist that is shocking. And that can feel, for me, a little embarrassing. It's like hearing your voice recorded.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. When you are editing or like listening back to interviews, or do you even listen to them back ever? Do you let somebody else do the editing?
Yeah. My husband does the editing. But yeah, I've forced myself to listen to episodes and it is cringe. It's like, oh God.
You have a great voice.
Really?
It's very soothing but direct. Like it's like all the words are enunciated or like all the letters are being received by me in a clear way. And I'm like, I could listen to you talk, which is probably why this is successful.
Oh, nice. Well, that's sweet. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. You're right, though. When you put yourself out there and you kind of have that mirror reflected back on you, it's easy to overanalyze and judge and be self-critical. But I'm trying to, in this stage of my life, be more open to giving myself grace and knowing that I'm not perfect and I screw up all the time and that's okay. So yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah,
and that
turns out we're all just works in progress.
Right? Yeah.
And like this has been like a theme in my head the last few days, but like we're so lucky to be able to age because it's filled with learning and realizing things. To be completely generic about it, it's like looking at an old picture or reading something old that I said in an interview that maybe I still agree with parts of it, but I would say it totally different now. Or realizing, oh, wow, I was like, for example, I like blow dry and straightened my hair for my entire adult life until maybe 2017. And looking back, I'm like, whoa, that person was like, that version of me was really lost and like stuck in somebody else's thinking.
Ideals.
And it's something so simple. I mean, really, I don't think hair is very simple, but it's something like that we can look back on and be like, whoa, okay, I'm a different person. And that's awesome that I got to have the opportunity to become different.
Right. Yeah. I often, I catch myself ruminating over silly things that I have said in the past. Like it could go as far back as like 20 years ago. And I'll be like, thinking of this, washing dishes or whatever, and be like, oh my God, like what was
Yeah,
that? Why would I think that would be okay to say or do or whatever? But
totally. When you
yeah,
have a that's
it's,
so Raven moment, that's what I
yes,
call it.
I love that.
You're like, whoa,
Exactly.
I have been here before.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And so you're in LA now, and
hmm
you're originally from Florida, South Florida,
Yes.
and then you moved to New
Yeah.
York.
Yes. I was born in South Florida, which I think people tend to make the distinction because it's such a big state.
Mm.
And like I grew up an hour north of Miami on the East Coast. And that's to me South Florida,
Okay.
that whole region and down. But yeah, I moved to New York when I was 18 to study photography. I went to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. Even reflecting on that is crazy. Moving to New York at 18
Wow.
feels really young
Yes.
to do something like that. But it felt really normal
Yeah.
to me and kind of like what I had to do. And yeah, I think not that you asked, but I anticipate this question often when I'm meeting new people, but asking me where I grew up feels like a loaded, complicated question to me in a way, because although I was born in Florida and lived there till I was 18, I identify with growing up as like after I moved, like 18 on is like I feel as if when I moved to New York, I was able to, I don't know, try to become who I wanted to be or who I thought I wanted to be. And I have kind of like a scatterbrained sort of memory of childhood. So I really identify as like, okay, I grew up in New York in my 20s.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Okay.
So yeah,
Amazing.
I live. Have you ever heard of Saskatoon?
No,
No.
girl, I've been to Canada once and it was my first travel job ever. It was crazy. It was like, I'd have to look up in my emails where it was, but I had to get on 2 planes. I know it was on the west coast of Canada.
Okay, not Vancouver or anything. No.
No.
Okay.
It was like a very small town. I went to photograph this woman named Kitty Plays Games. And she at the time was like one of the #1 Twitch streamers. She was like got very successful because she would dress cute like a kitty, and she was good at gaming. So I went to her house and I photographed her, and that was in Canada. I've never been since.
And that was a commissioned project?
That was a commission. That was for Bloomberg Business Week.
Wow.
It was a cover. So many firsts for me in that one situation. I don't really remember why at this point. Maybe because it was editorial, but there wasn't like a travel work permit or whatever those things are called.
A visa?
And
okay. I guess it wasn't a visa. I don't know if you need that for Canada or not. I know we do.
But it's some
in the States,
sort of like temporary work thing. Someone in the comments. Drop in the comments if you know what this is. But the magazine did not provide that. And so when I was at customs and I had photo gear, they were like, where are you going? And I don't remember who the editor was at the time, but they were like, just tell them you're going to visit a friend. And I really am a horrible, horrible liar. And I said that I'm going to visit a friend, and they were like, "But why is your return ticket is like within 48 hours? Like, what kind of friend you're going to?" And I was like, "Well, I'm actually like taking pictures of her for something, and like we're internet friends, and I'm a photographer." And I just like somehow weaseled my way around it, but really stressful. First travel job experience.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Canada is the same way to Americans, but like if a Canadian or any other citizen is caught working in the US without a visa, like you are like banned for life. Like they are not letting you back in the US anytime soon. Yeah. So it is a big thing. Like you gotta be careful about it for sure.
Yeah. So you currently live there?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
That's where I was born and raised. Honestly, at heart, I'm a big city girl. Like I would love to live in New York. Obviously, it's a challenge if you're a Canadian, but I'm also like I have a house here and it gets
Yeah.
harder to leave when you get comfortable.
Yeah, and you get your roots. You're like,
Yeah.
I worked for these roots. Why would I
Yeah,
ever leave them?
exactly. But like I see work that you create in others and I'm like, "Oh man, like I feel so inspired by that." And like I think that being injected in New York or even LA, like even when I go there for short periods of time, I'm like, "Wow, like it's so inspiring." And just being around other people that are like you and you learn so much from them and I just think it's so important as an artist and a creative just to like be injected in that scene.
Yeah, or give it at least give it a go.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah, I've moved so many times in my
Mm,
years, that I kind of I don't know the feeling that you have, which is like, why would
hmm
I leave? I'm sort of like, there's so many other places I could
mm,
be.
yeah, for sure.
Um, which is funny. It feels a little bit mismatched from like other aspects of my personality, I think. But um, now I kind of feel that I hope I never have to move again.
Mm,
Just in terms of actually where I live full time, that's really exhausting to move
yeah.
across this country or to a different state. Very discombobulating.
hmm Do you find, or did the type of work that you want to shoot bring you to LA? Is that why you moved from New York to LA, or were there other
Sort
reasons?
of yes and no. So this is my second time living in LA.
Mm,
In my experience of life and living in California, I moved back here in 2023 after a stint in New York. When I graduated college, I moved to Oakland actually
mm,
to live with a friend who's like one of my closest friends, Damian Maloney, who's also a photographer. Um, I think that I struggled to understand in New York how I would make pictures.
mm,
I still feel that way whenever I'm there. It's very difficult for me to be inspired outside of people's homes. Like, I
mm,
would make a lot of work in people's spaces, but then even then feeling a bit confined, and not inspired. So, partially moved to California to have the experience of living somewhere else, to be closer to my friend and to try to make pictures. And I think I moved with the mentality of be a big fish in a small pond.
mhm,
And then after living in Oakland for some time, I moved to LA and then kind of got sick of it or felt lonely or disconnected from my friends who live in New York.
mhm,
So I moved back to New York and then it was like COVID and whatever. And I was getting a lot of, once things started opening back up, as they say, I was doing a lot of commercial work in LA
mm.
and flying.
'Kay.
And that became exhausting,
Yeah.
and financially was stupid. A lot of the jobs, there's like this sort of trap of like working as a local, um, which I guess trap isn't the right word, but it's working as a local means you financially invest to some degree or you take a hit on your rate. I was lucky enough that one of my best friends, who is also my digitech, and he had a guest room at the time of going back and forth a bunch, and so we kind of got away with travel costs that way
Mm,
of like having a place to stay. Um, but yeah, just doing that so much and feeling more and more close to my friends here, my work community, my agent lived here. So I know it was like very challenging on my relationship at the time that I was in. And so I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I
mm,
also felt I'm over New York.
Mm.
Like mentally, I don't want to do this. Things that I guess are a version of being grounded and having roots, like laundry and grocery shopping, going to the doctor, things that I'd like to be more daily
Mm-hmm.
and easy. That's really, I found it to be very difficult in New York. Um, and those things coming easy make it easier for me to be an artist, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like, okay, all the things that keep me alive are stable and sorted, and now I can think about all this other stuff
Right. Yeah.
that's
That makes sense. It
less day to
frees
day,
up
less
the
domestic,
space for,
you know?
yeah, creative and that sort of thing. Yeah.
And I do like making pictures in my home,
Mm.
um, and feel like I'm more likely to casually make pictures if my space is how I like it and it's filled with things that I like and the temperature is a certain way. It's like a blizzard in New York right now, and I can't think of anything less uh, appealing to me
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And I think the people who live there, they're not like stoked on it being a blizzard, but
Right.
I just am like looking at my balcony right now and I'm like, it's beautiful out.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
California's the
really
best.
lucky.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, lucky and blessed that this life I get to live.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. There's so many, like, living in a city no matter what is hard. Um, there's it's just like a little easier here. Yeah, New York really like beat me up, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I hear that a lot. Or that seems to be, yeah, the way of New York. Hey, just even as like a dancer or like an actor, people go there, like you said, kind of like maybe where they're from, they were like a big fish in a small pond. And so they're like, I can do it. I can take on New York. And so they go there and they give it their all. And then they just like kind of walk away just a bit bruised. And yeah, it's,
Yeah, I think I would not be where I am in life and who I am in life if I didn't do that.
mm-hmm,
Going to art school was like extremely important to me, extremely formative. And the people who I consider my family are people I went to college with. And going to art school taught me how to think
mm,
and talk about photography in a way that I'll be financially paying for the rest of my life. But I
okay.
think emotionally and intellectually, it feels priceless. So I'm glad that I had that experience.
What kind of projects would you have in photography school?
Um, so it really depends on the class, and I think it depends on who you are, as simple as that. There were classic like
Mm,
lecture slash critique classes where you'd make work throughout the week and then you'd come in and put it up and talk about it and let people talk about it in a more communal way. And then there were humanities type classes. Like I took like a beat poetry class
mm,
and I took a film class, a women making film class, and those didn't really have projects. They were just readings or watch something. There's a studio class, and so the projects for that would be lighting technique
mm-hmm,
based. But everything else was kind of like free for all. There were some things that were structured. I took a class on like photography in the domestic space and domesticity, and so it wasn't like you had to make work about that, but you're more likely to sign up for that class and participate if that's something you're interested in doing, and then making work like that.
mm-hmm,
Um, I ended up taking pictures not in New York a lot. Made a friend who lived in Jersey and I photographed her and her family. I would go on or weekender type trips with my friends and make work. I'd go to Florida a lot and photograph my mom and where I grew up, and then come back to New York to be able to think about it and process the film and make edits and make prints. And um, so those were, for me, kind of projects I was doing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were more like exploratory, experimental things mixed in there, like trying to make a video piece about myself or
Yeah.
text based
Mm-hmm.
assignments. Like, oh, next week let's try to use an image made this way and use text, or they're like, it's a school where it's a direct major. So I didn't take any painting, drawing, or ceramic type classes, just
Okay.
photography. So the beginning years are very exploratory. Like everybody try to photograph the same thing 3 different times of the day.
Hmm.
You can do whatever you wanted. I think I've made self-portraits in the same corner of my dorm, all different times of the day. Make a picture about family,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means to you. Stuff like that. That kind
Okay.
of just like get your brain going.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking outside of walking around New York and taking pictures, which is not inherently a problem. But I think that is like the default mode when you move there from somewhere else. But yeah,
Hmm. How long was the program?
4 years,
4 years.
proper like BFA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how long ago did you graduate?
2014.
2014.
uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. I very much like mentally, you know, they say that there's like an age that we all feel inside forever, no matter what. I very much feel the age bracket of 19 to 24 or somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
The years that I was in New York and going to school. So it's funny to be doing this, and I'm like kind of immediately talking about school, but it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But I feel really close to it still,
Yeah.
and maybe that's because the people I talk to almost every day are people I went to school with, so kind of feels like that never ended.
Right. It seems like it
And I'm
was
grateful. Yeah, grateful for that.
like a really formative period of your life, like it really kind of shaped you in a way artistically. And then you probably feel like you kind of found a new version of yourself, or a
Totally.
version that
Yeah,
that was maybe awakened inside of you or something.
totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very connected to it, and it's important to me. And I think that school is so different now post COVID. College is really different for people. I have taught college classes at SVA. It's really different. And the way, like, I was in school when Instagram kind of became Instagram, and kind of experimented with posting like throughout college, and it had a totally different meaning, or I had a different relationship to it than I do now. And so I think all of that stuff kind of changes how young people feel about going to college. I think
Mm-hmm.
specifically art school is where I was getting with that thought of like, I feel grateful that my experience was where it was when it was, sort of like in a vacuum or time capsule, because people's relationship to school or why they think they should go or shouldn't go is totally different, which I completely understand why, and like empathize with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I go to school when everything's online?
Right. What made you decide to do like the degree versus just jump right in after, say, high school or something?
I think I didn't know where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I also didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I didn't do well in high school, like educationally speaking. And I was definitely lost in terms of what I'm supposed to do. I liked music, not playing it, but listening to it and going to like punk and hardcore shows. I like taking pictures of my friends and stuff in my life. And I was like, is this anything?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a job?
Yeah.
And I just, my aunt, my dad's sister, she's an artist in New York, and she was like, I think you should just apply to art school. So I only applied to one school, which was the one I got into, which I'm lucky. But I think it's also kind of like a for-profit school, and they probably accept a lot of people. And I kind of just went, oh, I'm going to just go to school. I don't really have a plan after this. I just hope that this turns into something.
Yeah.
And even in school, getting inspired and whatever, still not really knowing how this was going to be a job. At the time, while in school, I also was working at Sephora and Lush. Before that, in high school, I also was working at Ulta and Sephora. Like, I've always worked alongside school. I have like a lot of beauty in my family. My mom works in skincare and cosmetics, and both my grandmas did as well. So it kind of was like, well, I know how to sell lipstick, so I guess if art school doesn't work out, I will just work in like cosmetic retail.
Right.
And so in school, I think that was the thinking. Plus, I'm like, I'm going to be an artist and make books and have shows and whatnot. Yeah, and then one day, Emily Keegan, who at the time she was working at Bloomberg Business Week, and then after that she was working at the Fader, messaged me on Tumblr, and she said that she liked my pictures. Would I ever want to, shoot for the magazine?
Oh, that's cool.
And I think, she was like, there's a cool chair that I think you would make a great picture of. The rate is whatever it was, $700 or something. And I thought, this is my ticket out of here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a photographer for hire. Not really knowing what that meant.
Yeah.
Still kind of don't know what that means. It has changed. It literally changes every day. I think I got an email the other day about a job, and they're asking me about my rate in the craziest way. It's like they're coming up with new ways to ask people to work for less every day, and it is a new milestone for how to get paid less. But yeah, so that is, I guess, the beginning of my journey. And then I just thought, okay, but if this is a possibility, how do I keep doing this? Luckily, I was friends with people who were slightly older than me on the internet. People like Ryan Lowry and Daniel Shea that are family members to me at this point. And, they gave me a bunch of emails, and they're like, try to have a meeting, try to print a portfolio and go show it to people and see what they say. And I kind of just never stopped doing that, honestly, to this day. I think that's just getting in front of people has worked out.
Yeah.
And then worked out meaning what? Like meaning someone's hired me for something, someone's asked me to photograph something for money or no money. Just kind of has kept the wheel spinning, I guess, on my photography career. Yeah.
Right. Well, to quote Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
And I'm hearing that more and more.
Are you? Yeah.
No, I just, people have been saying that for forever,
Yeah.
And it is really true. What's the worst that can happen? People don't answer your email.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes that is literally the worst thing that could happen, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes that does feel like truly the worst thing ever. And life is filled with tiny rejections. You just have to figure out how to deal with them.
How to navigate it. Yeah. After you graduated, where did you go from there? Like, so you get your degree, and then you're like, now where do I go? So you had that job with
literally that
Bloomberg. Was it Bloomberg you just said?
Yeah.
So was that like one of your first commissioned jobs? And then
yes,
did it just kind of start snowballing from there, or because you have such a unique style? I would say that it does tend to lend itself more towards the editorial. Obviously, I don't think like bridal, like traditional bridal would be the right fit for you. Am I right with that? Like here,
I guess. I guess so. If we're thinking about it that way, I shot my first wedding last year ever.
Okay.
People never asked me to shoot weddings. If you're listening, I'm very interested.
I bet you would do like a really
drop
cool
a note in the comments
job
if you want me to shoot your wedding.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Fun. I'm interested in relationships and in terms of picture making. And I appreciate the preciousness of weddings as it pertains to the photography. And I just went in with some honesty. I'm not going to make good pictures after the ceremony. once people start passing drinks and it becomes more event photography, I will try, but I find that to be very difficult for me personally. And, so I did that aspect the best that I could, but really felt that I was thriving in the moments leading up and the formal portrait aspect of it. But I do think that, like you're saying, my pictures they are specific in a way, but then they're kind of also not, in terms of the things that I make pictures of. And I think in front of the right audience, I could shoot more weddings. You know what I mean?
I get
think
that. Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in it. In the same way that I'm interested in headshots. I'm interested in these categories that exist for photography, careers, like these buckets that you can dunk in. And I like seeing how my approach can fit. And then I think that is why besides money and besides feeling like I'm not necessarily good at anything else, I think that is why I have continued to pursue like this life, is the sense of it being a puzzle, how to answer the assignment, whether it's like a commercial job or editorial or like a celebrity, someone's personal project. Like, okay, how can I approach this? Like, so I come away with something that I would want to show regardless of what it's for and who it's for. That is hard and it doesn't always work out. But yeah, I've not that you asked this question, but it feels really related. But the question of like, what kind of pictures do I take? Like if you meet someone, like if I meet someone at a dinner and they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a photographer. And they say, oh, what kind of photography do you do? I'm like, it's one of the worst questions ever for me. I'm like, really hard to answer that question without looking at pictures because I could say portrait. I'm a portrait photographer, but like, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. It's like ubiquitous language. I also take still life. That means so many things to so many different people. Commercially, I shoot lifestyle. Most people, average person, doesn't even know what that means when you say you shoot lifestyle. I don't know. So I just end up saying like, what, if I'm attracted to it, I'm probably going to take a picture of it.
What do you mean when you say lifestyle? Now
when
that
I
we're
say
on the
lifestyle,
topic.
when I say lifestyle, I'm speaking commercially, which also means advertising, commercial advertising. And lifestyle, I think, means people doing stuff in a normal setting, in a setting that appears normal. And doing stuff can be cooking, laughing, running, watching TV, driving a car, things that human adults do, sometimes kids, in a way that feels relatable. And it's either because I'm trying to sell an idea, like therapy, or trying to sell an object that people interact with, like razors, shaving razors, or medicine that people take. So it is really like lifestyle, I guess, kind of answers to me, it lives in this world of like, what do people do with their life? Or you know what I mean? Like, I think that's how we as a culture have decided that's the term to define commercial advertising that isn't fashion and that isn't still life.
Right. Okay.
Everything else in between. I think, again, I could be wrong, but that's how I've come to terms with it. If I'm in a meeting with the ad agency and they're like, well, we see that you do a lot of lifestyle work, I have to hope that we're talking about the same thing.
Right. Yeah. I feel like you're very inspired by color. Like when I look at your portfolio, it's like, very vibrant and rich. And you must be shooting at I'm only guessing, like, do you shoot at a higher aperture when you are shooting? Like it just has like this, I don't know what you would call it, like like crisp, sort of almost like documentary look to it, or I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're trying. I know what you're trying to get at. I don't really think about things in a technical way, I guess, in terms of how they're gonna look. I do. What am I talking about? I do. It's like I have a 35 millimeter camera, I have a medium format camera, and I have a digital camera, and I'm making decisions when I choose to pick up one or the other, depending on what the thing is that I'm trying to make a picture of. I guess with digital, I try to shoot no higher than 5.6 because I think that it's harder to get the picture and the file to look more like non-digital pictures that I make if I'm doing that. And in all other forms, like medium format, 35 millimeter, whatever, I'm not really thinking about that. I'm kind of just like, what does the light meter say? I feel very beholden to the light meter, probably because of sort of learning about photography. The main camera I used for most of my young adult life into now still is a RZ67, which doesn't have a light meter and you can't do auto.
Yes, I have one, and I feel like I'm still definitely learning how to use it.
And there are photographers out there, many of them I am friends with, who they just know what the light is. They're like, oh yeah, this is the exposure. I'm like, huh? I need to get out the light meter because I need it to. I think it's a little bit of a meticulous control freak thing where it has to. I really need it to match how I saw it, and the way to do that for me is just whatever the thingy says, you know. And it's funny because I feel that I have such little trust in the camera. I think that's like what I've learned is that the camera is capable of capturing something. And I just need a different tool. Like maybe it's that I need a tripod. Or maybe that is I need to turn off the lights. Or, you know, there's other ways of making the picture that are possible, but maybe I've just been instinctually making pictures one way for so long that that's why they look the way they do. And like the thought of having to learn a new technical thing is so scary for me. I feel like learning how to use a digital camera when I say learn how to use, I mean process the files.
Oh, okay. You're 100% film user. Or
no.
Okay.
For most of my career up to a certain point, yes, but usually on commercial advertising, I'm shooting digitally, kind of forced to. So there is an aspect of having to learn to know how to use them. I know how to like turn one on and get it on the right settings. You know what I mean? But when I say learn how to use, I do mean how to process the files after to get them to look as close to film and as close to my vision as possible. It's a whole other set of way of thinking, at least for me in my experience. So that's been my personal creative journey is thinking, okay, is there ever going to be a time where, like right now, it looks like beautiful over there. Am I ever going to pick up my digital camera and just take a picture of that? Probably not. But I probably should, financially speaking, and to just merge tools to make my life easier and to deal with the inevitable, which is not that I think film will ever be dead, but it's just be harder to get and more expensive as it is. Like the cost of a pro pack of medium format film when I first moved to New York was, I don't know, like $12, and now it's like $78 or something. But so yeah, just being proactive in understanding that my default way of making work is not the easiest anymore. Or, you know, I don't want to be that like, I don't want to be a mid-50s photographer shooting editorial, being forced to shoot digital, forced meaning financially or resourcely speaking, and it look bad because I never learned how to use the other tool.
Yeah.
Which I think unfortunately has happened to a lot of some of the greats that are still shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, why doesn't this look like everything else? Why
Right.
did you not just shoot this the way you've been shooting?
Are you referring to the Timothy Chalamet? Chalamet. Is it Chalamet or Chalamet? The Vogue cover?
I was not referring to that, but man, what a picture. What a picture.
It's
Kind of
interesting.
amazing in parentheses derogatory. And I don't want to shit on the legend who made it because she has such amazing pictures
Mm-hmm.
leading up to that.
Yeah.
And I don't consider that her like climax.
Right. No.
But it is incredible. It is one of those pictures I have no idea how they did this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am rendered speechless with things like that. Not necessarily in a good way,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
is, I don't know what they did to make that picture. I know that I feel he was not there.
Yeah.
Physically, his form was not
Same.
there.
Yeah.
There's so much about that picture that is worth talking about, from the
Yeah.
styling to the post-processing to the
Mm-hmm.
what is going on here. It kind of has that feeling of the meme that's like, okay, grandma, let's get you to bed.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's how I feel about that cover.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that. And maybe that is just related to the aging topic that might be inevitable for me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a good exercise to accept that might be there's always going to be a
Right.
new technology. I think
Yeah.
that's also
Mm-hmm.
where we're at. There's always going to be like a new thing to learn.
Yeah.
And I feel, me personally, I'm still like behind on the the
Mm.
learning curve for that. I've
Mm-hmm.
never been good at math. I have really horrible hand-eye coordination, spatial awareness lacking completely. So there's just like, there's always going to be something to try
Right.
to have to overcome to
Yeah.
move forward in your career creatively. So yeah, I don't really know even why you were asking me what f-stop I shoot at, and now I'm here. But
That's how it
yeah,
goes. Like I said, it's like,
that's just how it
just
goes.
kind of weave our way through this
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah. What kind of film do you use?
Um, I've just always been using Kodak Portra, but this is another one of my, I'm just like, why does it matter? I know why you're asking, but my process is that I'll shoot film, I'll get it processed, and then I'll scan it myself. I have like an Imacon Hasselblad scanner that I've had forever. I learned how to scan film on one in college, and kind of again with the fear of technology thing, I just never learned how to do that on anything else.
Mm.
So that does haunt me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
haunted by that piece of technology, but it is part of my process, and I guess I always want to know why people want to know what film stock it is,
Mm.
because I'm doing so many different things to
Mm.
it
Mm-hmm. Okay.
when I'm
I'm so
scanning it, when I'm
curious. Yeah.
scanning and processing the colors. It's like, yeah, there's inherent like latitude, and some film skews blue or
Yeah.
yellow, but I'm like, at the end of the day, you can like get out of that
Hmm.
skew through
With the
retouching
scan,
if you want.
do you do that? At what point do you do those sort of adjustments? It's at the
I'm
time of the
doing it.
scan or like after do you use like TIFF files or JPEGs or?
I'm scanning 3F files, which is the FlexTight
Okay.
software, which is the software that runs the scanner. So that
Huh.
is the Imacon RAW version of a RAW file.
Okay.
Don't want to give away too many secrets,
Yeah.
but I'm scanning it negative
Okay.
as a negative, and then I'm turning it positive in Photoshop
Interesting.
in
Okay.
levels and different
Yeah.
things.
So that's how you
But
get like your
I feel
unique
like sometimes
tones.
I'm like in the mood to do it a different way. And
Mm-hmm.
for years I was scanning not RAW, I was scanning as TIFF and doing color corrections in the scanning program, and
Mm-hmm.
then bringing it over to my main computer and doing more to it. But yeah, I just like, and maybe this is just me, but very rarely am looking at someone's work and thinking, what did they use to make this? I'm usually thinking, how did they make this? And those things are tied together because the tool informs the how, but it's also like lighting. I'm like, how was this lit? And how did this person get in this room under these circumstances? Yeah, but then the flip side of that is I look at stuff online and I'm like, this is a lab scan. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like I'm going to get like hate mail for this, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I understand why people get them. It's convenient and it takes less thinking. It's like convenience is the answer for all of that for many people. But I'm like, but the person who scanned your film, they made creative decisions when scanning the film. So you're missing out on like an opportunity to flex your vision or something, you know? So I am often thinking that also, and kind of like, well, why are you shooting film at all at that point?
Yeah.
Because there's ways to make the digital files look like that. It's harder, and I'm still figuring it out, but it is possible. I guess I don't want people to stop shooting film and getting lab scans because then that would lead to the closing of labs that I need, you know? It is like a horseshoe theory situation. I'm like, why are they even, they should just shoot digital. And then I'm like, well, no, they should keep doing whatever makes them happy and whatever fulfills them creatively. And I don't want to judge, but it's hard sometimes, a little bit judgmental.
Can you share a bit more about the process of it? So do you get your film developed somewhere and then you get the scan or you get the negatives and then you scan each individual negative as its own file?
Because I'm like unwell. I'm unwell, so I do that. Most people, I think the average person, and maybe it's not even true, and this is some kind of like twisted analysis projection thing, but I think that most people are dropping off their film, they're getting it processed, they're having either lab scans done, which might be low res, and then they go home and they scan their favorites high res, or they go back to the lab and have the lab scan high res of their favorites. Some people go straight to the lab and make prints and then they scan the prints. I just know myself, and the thought of opening up a negative binder and re-scanning something, I'm just never going to do it. So my process is I shoot film, take it to the lab processes it, just process only, no cut and sleeve, nothing. I take it home, I scan every frame as it comes into the scanner. Sometimes I'll scan the strip and then have individual scans, but I'm usually scanning every single frame raw and sort of treating it like a digital camera in that way, where it's like I have every frame. And if I decide on a down day when I'm bored, I'm sitting at my computer opening up my archive, I'm like, what was I doing in 2022 in March? Open up the March folder, there's RAWs, TIFFs, and JPEGs. In the RAWs, I'm like, I never looked at this picture. I always thought that frame 7 was the shot. But maybe I'm a different person now and I'm reflecting and I'm like, maybe frame 2 is the shot. And if I wasn't someone who scanned every single frame, theoretically I would have to go find the negative or look at the contact sheet and be like, oh, that was it. Shoot. Now I got to go find the negative and rescan it. It's probably dusty because it's been sitting in, So that's kind of my process. It takes a long time, and I think that it preemptively has affected whether or not I take a lot of pictures. I think that I'm a little bit more strategic than maybe is best.
That's interesting.
Like I'm not really like open to the process of like see whatever happens. But I probably should be, but I'm a little bit more rigid and intentional. I'm like, this lemon is exactly where it should be and the light's hitting it. I'm only going to take one frame because I'm going to have to scan every single one. But in there is a missing of opportunity for something different, or, you know, getting the feedback of someone, if someone else is in the room and they're like, oh, there she goes taking a picture of a lemon. Why don't you do it like this? Then it's like, you know, there's these other ways that I'm a little more closed off to because of the process, which is why I've been really into shooting 35 these days, and because there's more pictures on the frame, on the roll. And I have a little digital point and shoot that I've been using.
Oh, which one?
It's a Lumex. It's like from 2002. My mom found it when she was cleaning out my grandma's house when my grandma died 2 years ago. And I kind of, it's like one of the cameras that all like Gen Z kids are using.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been using that a little bit like a sketchbook, or being more
That's cool.
open to the possibilities of what could happen, because it's free, you know, like the pictures are free. And there's auto, you know, there's a light meter in the 35 millimeter camera I've been using. Simple things like that I don't know if people who know my work like know that goes into it for me, but yeah, just being like, well, the camera says that there's enough light in the room, and so I'm just going to take the picture, because otherwise, if it was me and my RZ, I probably wouldn't take the picture because I don't have a tripod, and it's not going to come out, or it's going to be shaky, all the reasons. And then I kind of end up at this conclusion of, no wonder people use auto. Like, it's so stupid. Like,
don't you find the focusing with the RZ67 like
horrible?
Yes,
horrible
it's so
experience.
hard. Like, I feel so bad. Like, if I don't use it for like my paid shoots, just because I feel like I just don't know that tool that well. And so if I do have someone like waiting, I feel like they're freaking waiting forever, just like because I'm trying to focus it, and then they're like, I don't want to catch them blinking. It's just such a I need to practice
I kind
more.
of love that though, in a way. I think that there's
slowing down and just like letting it just happen.
Yeah. I have been told that I treat portraits like still life, where I'm like, turn your head a little bit like this, or chin down, and hold that, because there's a whole process that's going on here, focusing wise. I wear glasses. That's so hard with the RZ. I have the prism binder because I'm rather short. So I learned early on in school that any looking down camera, every picture is like looking up. And I didn't want that, so I got the prism. But the prism is like a little piece of glass hitting my glasses, and I learned that I needed glasses too late in life. I should be wearing contacts, and that's the whole other thing. But the making someone wait, I think something happens in the picture. For me, that I like, and sometimes it makes the other person feel, I think, a little bit cared for, because it's a slower process, and you're like, wow, like, you know, I've just been told like, wow, you really made me feel comfortable because you were paying attention to all these little things before you took the picture, like my hair, piece of my hair, or like, you know, the way my chin looked. But I don't do that. I mean, that's really particular situation. I'm not shooting commercial advertising like that. So that's just like a different beast, you know, like the tools. I think that the tools can help get whatever you wanted out of the subject of the picture, which again, just like hypocritical of me, because earlier I was like, I don't know, what does it matter? What film you shoot? Who cares? Why do you ever want to know? And now I'm like, the tool helps define the image. I've just talked myself into just,
that's so
like, again, with the horseshoe theory or something. I'm just like, yeah, what I said earlier doesn't matter. Don't listen to me. You know,
there can be duality, you know, like it can be
so true.
that, and it can also be this.
Both can exist at the same time, learning more and more. But I think I'm so, like, if I'm sitting down with someone, I want to know like why you took that picture instead of how. Like, what was it about that thing that drew you to that, and less, well, why'd you use that camera? Because for me, I'm like, well, that's the one I had. or that's the one that was like had film in it, or that's the one where the battery wasn't dead, you know?
Hmm. So you do a lot of celebrity work too, right?
Yeah, I feel that I tripped and fell into that.
That's funny.
Tripped and fell into shooting celebrities.
Who was your first, and what was that like?
Great question. I don't know. I can't remember.
Who was your favorite?
Favorite for different favorites for different reasons. I photographed Lana Del Rey. That feels like the coolest thing about me. If I had to like, she was awesome and normal and real. And she looked at my photography beforehand, really rare. She was like exactly who I thought she would be. It's funny, I took like 2 rolls of film. Like there's like, and I kick myself for that. But
Like
it
you
was more,
wish you
I was
took
just really,
more?
I just felt I was like really present. She was a little late, they all are.
Okay.
And the light, I was just using kind of like available light at this crazy house. And I just wanted to talk to her. So I didn't end up taking that many pictures. But I really love the pictures that I took. They're still like important to me, and I think that they represent how I like to approach celebrity pictures. I photographed Charlie Sheen recently. He was
I
so
saw
awesome.
that. Oh, was he?
He was so awesome. I loved him. He was so real. And we talked about tattoos and his kids, and we didn't have that much time together, but he was just really responding to the way that I was making pictures. I used THRZ and digital just 'cause backup, whatever. But he was really responding to the slowness to which I was taking pictures, and that worked for me in terms of like a conversation. A lot of the times I just feel like, what am I supposed to talk to this person about? Or I feel I don't think I should be talking to them at all. Or like they don't even want to be here. I'm the least important part of their day. That's kind of my default. And a lot of the times the resources are slim for making those pictures, depending on the publication. But I'm not shooting celebrities for fashion magazines, really. So there's a bit more of pulling a rabbit out of a hat than to creating a world with them. So yeah, I think being a portrait photographer, like of my friends and people in my life, has led somehow in some way to photographing celebrities. But again, in the same way, I do like it because it is a challenge, but it is frustrating also because I'm like, I couldn't do the thing I wanted to do because they were late, or they didn't like me, or the PR person decided that my idea didn't fit the vibe, or whatever. But it's not always like that.
Right. And is it typically for magazines that you're shooting these celebs?
Yeah. Magazines, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, The Cut, stuff like that. I always think like maybe this will turn into like photographing them for something that they're doing, like they're writing a book and they liked this picture I took of them for the New York Times, so they're going to call me and like ask me to shoot something more important to them. It doesn't happen, but it is something I think about. I'm like, oh, maybe this will lead to that.
And I saw you did a shoot for the cast of Capote, was it?
Yeah.
So was that your idea with the table and the flowers? That's cool. So what inspired that?
Well, I kind of just been doing that. I think I don't know what to do in a studio. I struggle in a photo studio. So trying to make it a little bit more caricature-esque or something, or that helps. Like there's something cartoony to me about being in a studio in general. So I think I've defaulted, and I'm interested in picture day as this idea, and it's helped me to mentally structure what is the point of this if I treat it like school day picture or something.
Okay.
I think because I struggle with trying to find like my voice in a photo studio because so much of my work is out in the world.
Yeah.
And so there's something about building a little world.
I see. Yeah.
to the backdrop and the tabletop and the flowers or fruit or something that makes it caricature-esque, school picture day-esque. It makes it easier for me to direct the subject because there's something for them to do. Like tabletop posing is like,
Yeah.
this kind of treat it like a
Portraiting
photo
or
booth
traditional posing. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, or I can give them direction with the flower, like it's a cigarette or you're flirting with it or you're mad at it. And for me, that's like helpful.
Yeah. I can picture
Instead of
that
like
now.
just you're standing there and I don't know, turn around.
Right. Yeah.
Try one with your leg up,
Yeah. And I could see that working really well for an actor, right?
Yeah.
It's like then they know how to perform in a way too.
Yeah.
And I bet that relaxes them, like
Yeah,
puts them
I
at
hope
ease.
so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Or
Yeah.
they think it's fun or funny or novel.
Well, now I can really see that because the one that I'm thinking right now is it Tom Sellinger? I think it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. And he was
He
kinda
was like, we
holding
had
it
this
like
crazy
this, and
flower. Yeah.
And so how did you direct him with that? Did you give him, do you remember if you
Well,
had
I
an
was like, this
action?
flower is so Dr. Seuss.
Okay. That makes
And I was
sense.
like, there's something like I've never seen a flower this shape. And he thought it was fun and he was having fun with it.
Yeah.
Like he'd never seen a flower that shape. And I think he wasn't expecting that to be what the shoot was. And so I think he had a bit of fun with it. That's all. I'm trying to achieve like least friction with celebrities. It's like I don't want them to be mad at me.
Right.
And I want to get something. It doesn't always work out. But
okay.
yeah.
What can you name an example of a celeb that you worked with? Maybe you don't want to, and that's totally fine, but that didn't work out.
I definitely don't want to say because the PR people for celebrities, I think they have a lot of power. And so if you do well and have good rapport with some celebrities, or that you make a picture that the celebrities like, and the PR person represents multiples, at least in my head, in my like conspiratorial mind, I'm more likely to get approved for a different celebrity that they might represent if they had a good experience with me or something. Yeah, but everybody has bad days too. That's the other thing is I'm like, I have bad days, and you can't call in sick to being a freelancer.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to just show up.
Yeah.
And I imagine that is on a way higher scale for people who work in the industry and are performers.
Yeah.
You have to perform for a living. And so even when you're doing press, you're performing. So I imagine that's exhausting. A lot of these celebrities will be on press days. So be like, okay, we're shooting at the London Hotel. Molly, you're going to show up at 1 for whatever magazine. Then I get there and there's like 3 other photographers I know they got for a different magazine. And the person is just kind of like banging them out all day. It's like, and then what if you're the last person of the day on their schedule?
Yeah.
That sucks.
That makes sense.
They got stuff going on. They have kids. Like, they have a life outside of whoever they are. And I think it depends on the age of the person too, because I think there's an expectation of how celebrities are treated on photo shoots.
Okay.
Based on, and so I don't always have all those resources. Like I can't, I could invest in catering and 6 assistants and transportation and to make it a big production, but oftentimes I can't and don't want to. And so I worry that plays a role in how I'm being perceived.
I see.
Also, I like show up and I'm covered in tattoos and I'm a woman. So I don't know. I think we might be past that, but again, it depends on the person and their age and like how many accolades they have. That I think it all like unconsciously kind of plays into the experience that I have with them.
Yeah.
Well,
you're very personable, so I don't know
sweet.
why there would be an issue, but so what's next for you?
Since the fall, I've been going through like a personal transitional journey, getting out of a relationship and changing my living situation and having a sort of like different outlook on the world and my life. So been trying to think about that and work in between. And I still am just taking pictures. I don't know. I like working, so I want to keep working. I'm always making sort of quote unquote personal work. I just like taking pictures. I think that there's a book in the works of new work. Works of new work. But that is also something that I'm reconsidering based on like what the work is and as it pertains to my life and my new life now. That's all really general and vague stuff, but I guess I never really know how to answer that question. I'm going to Jamaica in April to celebrate my best friend's bachelorette.
That's cool.
I've never been to Jamaica, so that's next and fun for me.
That's awesome.
I've been really into going to the movies. I just try to see a movie at least once a week. So what's
your favorite lately?
I saw One Battle After Another like 4 times in theater. I loved it.
Nice.
I love PTA. I thought Marty Supreme was awesome.
I haven't
also
seen
saw
that
it
yet.
multiple times in the theater.
Okay.
I'm a member of American Cinematheque, which is like a movie club sort of in LA. Not a club. It's like you don't have to be a member to go see the movies, but they show movies at the Los Feliz 3, which is theater by my house, the Egyptian in Hollywood, and the Arrow in Santa Monica, these older theaters. And the American Cinematheque plays all sorts of old movies on film, not film. They have mini-series. You know, if someone passes away, they'll do like a series of all their movies. Or right now they're showing like all movies. They just have like a lot of they have like Women's Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays they'll show movies made by women. And so that's been cool and important to me. I don't know if it's affected how I take pictures just yet, but it's been really nutritious, a nutritious activity for me.
That's great. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, what we consume, it does influence our work in some way. Yeah. Even if you don't see it directly, it's there. Yeah. So maybe in a couple of years, you'll look back and you'll be like, I can see that link now, you know?
Yeah.
So where can people find you and get in touch?
It's Molly Matalon across the board for everything.
Okay.
Website, Instagram. Are there other things? Letterboxd.
That's mostly it. Letterboxd. I don't know that one. What is
that? That's the Cinephile app. It's or whatever. It's an app where you can log movies, and you can also have a watch list. So I'll put movies in there that I want to watch or someone mentions. Bunch of my friends use it, and like last night my friends and I went to go see Blow Up, and you can see like what your friends wrote about it and reviews.
That's cool.
I should be Molly Matalon on there also. Maybe. I think so. Those are all the apps. I don't know of any others.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me.
Really fun.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Art Estate. If you enjoyed our conversation, be sure to subscribe and follow along on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content and updates at Art Estate Podcast and at Nicole Romanoff Photo. You can now watch full episodes on YouTube. Just search Art Estate Podcast and hit subscribe to follow along visually. New episodes drop every Tuesday. See you next time for another inspiring conversation.